In fantasy football, it is important that we are stacking our quarterbacks with our pass catchers that we are drafting. This matters especially on Underdog Best Ball because if you are lucky enough to make it to the playoffs, you need your quarterback to score really, really well that week for you to move on. And when your quarterback scores well, he's going to be throwing touchdowns to one of his pass catchers. Now, if you have Lamar Jackson and paired with maybe Dalton Kincaid, you need both the Ravens offense to have a good week that week for you to advance and the Buffalo Bills offense for you to advance. Now, if you had Josh Allen instead of Lamar Jackson and Dalton Kincaid, now you just need one team, the Buffalo Bills, to have a good week on offense that week for you to advance. So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to ADP to figure out which pick positions can land us a quarterback at a value and a wide receiver at a value where both those wide receiver and quarterbacks are both very good. But here, without further ado, we'll get into our first, the best stack on Underdog Fantasy Football currently, the Cincinnati Bengals triple stack featuring Ja'Marr Chase, 2024's wide receiver 1. The man needs no introduction. We know exactly what Ja'Marr Chase is, top 5 draft pick a couple of years ago, and has done nothing but put up wide receiver 1 seasons ever since coming into the league. No matter how injured the dude is, he always puts up a wide receiver 1 season, and we can count on that happening again now that he is under contract long-term with the Cincinnati Bengals, paired with his buddy T. Higgins, who's also under contract for a long time with the Cincinnati Bengals. Both these guys, Ja'Marr and T. Higgins, were wide receiver 1 and 2 in terms of points per game last season. T. Higgins didn't finish very highly because he was injured a lot. Frankly, in the history of his career, he's been injured a lot, but when he's healthy, he puts up a ton of points, and he won people a ton of money last year going off against the Denver Broncos in week 17. Now, the thing that makes this stack truly come together is going to be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is someone that I am drafting as an elite quarterback because if we take a look at his finishes when he's healthy, he's a top 8 quarterback in fantasy football. 2021 was the first year he was fully healthy for all 16 games. He put up a quarterback 7 season, followed that up with another healthy season of quarterback 4. That's when the NFL changed to 17 games. And then he's coming off this last season where he was quarterback 3. And what's great about this is even though we know he scores like an elite quarterback, the rest of Underdog ADP has not reacted to this fact. And Joe Burrow is going about 15 spots later than Jalen Hurts, the next elite quarterback going right before him. Absolutely love the value about Joe Burrow. You really want to make sure you have elite quarterbacks when it comes to best ball fantasy football, and Joe Burrow is a great value. You just got to make sure, unfortunately, to get the triple stack, you need to have Ja'Marr Chase, or you have to have the first pick or the second pick, which is tough to get. But if you are lucky enough to get them, this is a great stack to pick up. T. Higgins is someone I have ranked above his ADP. So if you have pick 4 or 5, I do like taking T. Higgins earlier in the second round and then going ahead and stacking him with Joe Burrow, a quarterback who I've said before I consider to be elite. Let's hop into our next triple stack. It's going to be another triple stack, the Cowboys triple stack. Dak Prescott paired with CeeDee Lamb, last year's wide receiver 8, but 2 years removed from his wide receiver 1 overall season. This duo is joined by George Pickens, forming what should be a pretty good trio of players in Dallas. Now, Dak Prescott, he is very similar to Joe Burrow, where when he is healthy, Dak Prescott he scores like an elite quarterback. Going back to 2019, when Dak Prescott plays every single possible game in the season, he is a top 8 quarterback, just like Joe Burrow. 2019, played every game, quarterback 2. 2021, played every game, quarterback 8. 2023 played every game, quarterback 3. Dak Prescott, very, very high scoring quarterback, and he's coming off the board late, very late at a quarterback 12 ADP. ADP in the hundreds of 108.4. This is one of my favorite quarterbacks to select in Dak Prescott. And he is, again, this is another stack that if you do want to pull it off, you are going to have a high draft pick, as CeeDee Lamb is currently in the draft that I'm seeing. He's going ahead of Justin Jefferson because of Justin Jefferson's hamstring injury. I expect, according to the ADP, Justin Jefferson in a majority of drafts is still ahead of CeeDee Lamb. But from what I've seen, CeeDee Lamb has been going ahead of Justin Jefferson. I've even seen him go ahead of Jamar Chase as well. Now, let's talk about George Pickens. Not as good as, he's not the value that Dak Prescott is. He's not the talent that CeeDee Lamb is. But what he is he's great for half PPR best ball, which is what Underdog Fantasy Football is. He is a guy who has absolute boom weeks, which is exactly what you're looking for. And if you have Dak Prescott as well, when George Pickens has one of those boom weeks, you are going to be able to take full advantage of the quarterback points, the touchdown thrown points, and the receiving yards, catch, and touchdown points for George Pickens as well. Absolutely love that stack. Now, let's get into the final stack, which is my favorite stack of the three. A stack where both the wide receiver and the quarterback are unproven, but both of these guys are going at crazy values, unlike the earlier stacks. And it's going to be the Carolina Panthers stack with Bryce Young and rookie wide receiver out of Arizona, Teteroa McMillan. What I love about this stack is Bryce Young is looking like he's about to have a crazy breakout. If we take a look at the way he finished last season, putting up 16.5 points, 24 points, 14 points, 14 points, 27 points, 17 points, and then 36.5 points in week 18 against a divisional rival in the Atlanta Falcons. Bryce Young is someone who I expect to go to the moon in fantasy football this year. I'm not saying he's going to finish as an elite quarterback, but he is going to finish very, very highly. If we take a look at the news on the rookie wide receiver in Teteroa McMillan, everyone is loving the fact that I love the fact that he's the only game in town. Adam Thielen is super old. Bryce Young is not throwing a ton of targets to him. Teteroa McMillan is getting the targets. We look at the stories. Better than advertised. You can't take your eyes off him. He's already getting glowing reviews from the media. Teteroa McMillan is a player that we can be excited to invest in when it comes to this stack. If we take a look at the wide receivers ADP, Teteroa McMillan is someone I have ranked ahead of a couple wide receivers who are going over him on Underdog. I have Teteroa McMillan ranked over Marvin Harrison Jr., over Devontae Adams, and over Mike Evans. All guys that are going ahead of Teteroa McMillan on Underdog. I think he's going to get an absolute ton of targets, and I can't wait to draft more Teteroa McMillan. But like I said, Bryce Young is also a value on Underdog. He's coming off the board at currently quarterback 23. Just 2 days ago, he was coming off the board at quarterback 25. People are starting to zone in on him. They're figuring out that he is going to have a very good season, and they're starting to push him up the boards. I think he's going to finish somewhere like quarterback 12. Bryce Young is someone I'm very, very, very excited to be drafting. Now, one note with Bryce Young going up in ADP, part of it is the fact that Matthew Stafford is now going down in ADP. That's because of his back injury. The strategy with Matthew Stafford doesn't change. If you drafted Puka Nacua in round 1 or Devontae Adams in round 2, take Matthew Stafford as your quarterback 3 in a 3 QB build, or take him as your quarterback 2 in a elite quarterback build. Other than that, you really shouldn't be drafting Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have any rushing upside. He's not a quarterback who you should be having a ton of exposure to. But that's what I got for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and thanks for watching.